The climate of the Earth, of course, has changed many times during geological history, but those changes were gradual, taking place over many thousands of years, and animals had time to adapt to them either by evolving into new forms or by migrating into more suitable areas. But the changes that some are predicting now would be very swift indeed, not thousands of years, but decades. And the animals on these plains in East Africa certainly wouldn't have time to adapt to them. And neither would they be able to migrate into more suitable areas, for these plains are their last refuge. They are hemmed in by the settlement of human beings. So the effects of a swift climatic change for the wildlife here, which is already hard-pressed, are likely to be catastrophic. This is Kirtland's warbler, a rare songbird that may become the miner's canary of the greenhouse effect. Its extinction will signal that the Earth's climate is changing. There are just 500 of them left in the world. Rapid temperature rises could leave them with nowhere to live. Kirtland's warbler winters in the Bahamas and returns to Michigan each May. It nests only in a small area of jack pine forest in the middle of the state. Computer models developed at the University of California by Professor Daniel Botkin show that early next century the soil will become too dry for jack pines to grow.
This is a computer projection of what will happen with global warming. As the climate warms, you can see that maples do much better, and so do white pine. And although there are a lot of small jack pine, they don't grow as well.
Professor Botkin says the jack pine will be in trouble in just 20 years, and that by 2070 the forests will be little more than scrubland. But even if this wood dies, there may be ways to save the warbler.
Breeding new strains of jack pine that can grow further south under warmer conditions, and trying to coax the bird to nest further north on soils that it hasn't used before.
Saving the bird might not be so easy. The warbler already owes its life to this emergency task force. For 15 years they've struggled to protect it. Now they fear it won't adapt to climate change and their work will be wasted.
People are concerned, and I'm concerned, what is the effect of global warming of the Earth going to have on our Kirtland warbler management areas?
As we stand right now, the Kirtland's warbler is at the extreme southern edge of the jack pine range. So that puts it in a real precarious position.
The future of Kirtland's warbler is now in the balance. Though a shy and little-known songbird, if it disappears completely, many other animals around the world will vanish too.
To me, I look at it as sort of a natural work of art, and if we were to lose, say, a painting or a statue, we could make another one, but if we lost the Kirtland's warbler, there won't be another one.
In Africa, spiraling temperatures can breed plagues of pests. In just one day, a swarm of locusts eats a year's food supply for 500,000 people. In Europe, even the humble ladybird can become a public nuisance. Hot weather and plenty of green fly can lead to a population explosion. And in Australia, mice can appear in plague proportions after a drought. During one outbreak, 158,000 mice were killed in a single night. At the bottom of this hole in the sandhills of Florida lives a creature whose importance to American wildlife is only now being recognized. It holds the key to the survival of many animals whose lives revolve round this burrow. If global warming affects one of them, it affects them all. The builder of this burrow once provided meat for this man and his family. Hunting it for food is now illegal. Rufus Stratton is using his old poaching skills for an important new purpose. He's catching gopher tortoises for scientific research. The tortoise, already at risk from forestry, mining and housing, now faces global warming. Rufus Stratton wants it to survive.
I'd like to see the gophers here years from now, so my grandchildren, great-grandchildren, my ancestors know what a gopher was.
This slow, lumbering animal is an unlikely king of the sandhills. Without it, many other animals would suffer. Some might not survive. Global warming spells danger for the tortoise. Biologist Joan Demar has already spotted worrying changes in its behavior.
This has been the warmest winter that I've experienced in the 9 years that I've been in Florida. My observations and the observations of others have indicated that the gopher tortoise is moving more this year. That is, it's outside the burrow more than it has been in previous winters.
As the tortoise's biological clock goes haywire, scientists believe its breeding may be unsuccessful and its numbers may slump, with serious implications for many of the animals which depend on it. Joan Demar has noted that up to 80 creatures use the tortoise's burrow. Some, like the threatened gopher frog, have nowhere else to live. For others, the burrow gives shelter from severe storms, forest fires and predators. If the gopher tortoise stops digging, there'll be no protection for the burrowing owl or the threatened indigo snake. If the tortoise suffers, its friends and enemies will suffer too.
I think the animal is going to be affected by people moving inland from the coasts as the sea levels rise, and there would be increased competition for habitat between man and tortoise, with man ultimately winning out and the tortoise being restricted to small areas and preserves.
3,000 miles north, on the roof of the world, a similar conflict is unfolding between man and an altogether more fearsome creature. The seal is prey for the king of the ice as he stalks across the frozen Arctic Ocean. If the ice melts, the polar bear will be stranded, unable to reach its food.
If severe global warming takes place, then the polar bears would be among the most severely impacted animals in the world, because they depend on sea ice and because warming inevitably would reduce the amount of sea ice, possibly even result in total disappearance of the sea ice over the Arctic.
Males hunt seals across the ice throughout the winter. Females are confined to their maternity dens. After 4 months without food, they're on the verge of starvation. When they emerge in the spring, they need to catch seals quickly. These nursing mothers and their cubs will be most vulnerable to climate change. An early thaw would prevent the hungry bears from reaching their food, with disastrous consequences.
In the event that the warming became so severe that the ice was very much reduced and the prey more or less disappeared, then bear alternative food and also start to invade humans. Do now
will be visitors to Arctic towns. Not only will scavenging fail to satisfy their appetite, but their very presence will put them in danger. People are likely to drive them out or kill them. Even so, polar bears may become dependent on the very rubbish tips that are turning up the heat.
So much depends on the